because of committees and stuff. So
What is it?
That's right.
5:30 is the full council meeting.
Yeah, but they've got, it's actually the first.
we call to order the meeting of the Portland City Council for our second council meeting of the month, February the 18th at a little past 6 o'clock. Let us stand for the prayer and pledge, please. Our Father in heaven, we're so thankful for this day and all the blessings that we have. We're so thankful for the opportunities we have that we're able to work in our community and do things for our community and do things for this city. Help us as we make decisions that we always look to Thee for Thy guidance and always try to do the best as a whole for our community. Be with on everyone tonight. Thank you for the weather that we're having. Most of all, we thank Thy Son, Jesus Christ. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. King.
Alderman Bratton.
Here.
Alderman Callis.
Here.
Alderman Carbon.
Here.
Vice Mayor McDowell. Alderman Menace.
Here.
Alderman White.
Here.
Thank you. Next, need approval agenda. Do need to make a couple additions. Have a motion, get it on the floor.
So moved.
Have a second? Second. All right, I need to add, right under the other business where the election to fill vacancy of council member, it needs to be a resolution. We actually need to pass a resolution. Just forgot to put that on there to do that. And then also I want to add in the legislative a resolution with a settlement due to a case of Volunteer State Bank. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda?
Just one, I want to add under public safety to discuss city-sponsored driving program.
Okay.
Discuss what?
City-sponsored driving program. I'll elaborate when we get to that spot.
I hope so.
Okay. All right. We look forward to that, Mr. Bratton.
Beg your pardon?
So we look forward to that.
Okay.
All right, anyone else? All in favor of the agenda with the changes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have communications from Mayor and Alderman. Does anyone Alderman wish to address the public with anything? Okay, if not, we'll go on. Now we have public recognition, and this is for anyone in the audience who would like to address the council for any item on the agenda. We'll ask that you come to the podium and state your name and address, and leave it to about 5 minutes. Does anyone wish to address the council tonight? Okay, if not, the first item under other business is election to fill the vacancy of council member. I think Mr. Amonette wished to say something.
Yes, just briefly. First of all, I don't think there was any intent to make an error in what we did last time, but to the extent that I didn't check everything and review everything and look at the ballots and so forth, I apologize to all of you, the candidates who were nominated, and I wish I had, but to some extent I'm glad that this was brought up because it will be corrected properly tonight. So tonight we're going to make sure that every ballot, I don't know how the ballot will turn out or who's going to be nominated, but we will make sure that we have a voice vote by each alderman on the election, so anybody can nominate whoever they choose, and then once the nominees are in, then we'll have a roll call vote by each alderman on those that are nominated. So just want to say I'm sorry for any part that I may have had in doing that. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. All right, we do have the election to fill, in this spot that we're filling was, as a kind of a repeat, was vacated when Alderman Tim Coker moved outside the city limits. According to our charter, it says when any vacancy in the city council office Alderman shall occur, such council as then composed shall elect a qualified person to fill that position. The council chose to ask for people who are interested to submit their names along with a little bio sheet and ask give them a time to actually make a little presentation. Those names that were presented were David Andrews, James Calloway, Don Dacey, Jerry Denny, Albert Dittis, Jack Freelo, Douglas Gartner, Andrew Jennings, and Charles Lyons. So that was the names. Of course, the council can do it any way that they want to, or any name they would choose, but those were the ones who were presented that showed an interest of being able to fill that spot. So is there any discussion on this before we get into asking for nominations? Okay, would anyone like to make a nomination to fill this seat?
I'd like to make a nomination that we do it the same way we did it last time, and all those that are interested, their names be put on the ballot.
Okay. We have that we would do the ballot, and do understand that once your name is put on the ballot would have to be read with your name of who you voted for.
So say that again now.
Mr. Alderman White is making a motion that we do the ballot again, and that kind of do it like we did
That
last.
all people that were on the list be nominated, that's your
And all those
nomination.
interested, their names be placed
You
in
have to have a
nomination.
second to his motion, Mayor.
Right.
And then we would just do the same ballot, but we would just sign our name to it.
Right.
You'll know, your vote's gonna be called out.
I mean, they sign their name, then then it would be read who they
Read
voted for.
aloud.
Right.
In other words, whoever is nominated, now that, well, he's gotta give a second to his motion if everyone is nominated as he's chosen. Assuming that is how you proceed, then you will vote for whoever you choose, and the city recorder will call out your name and how you voted.
Okay.
Okay.
I second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. So any other discussion? I would make one comment. I know it was brought into question last time when I did break the tie, where the mayor could actually vote and break the tie. Of course, it would be an odd number tonight. That shouldn't happen, but it still could, depending on how the ballots went. And we did check with that, and the attorney did check. And as the first part of the charter, unless everybody says, the governing body of the municipal house shall be known as the city council, shall be composed of a mayor and 7 aldermen. So even though I only break in the case of ties, and it says council, that they feel like the charter allows the mayor to break a tie on this situation. Any other comments or questions? So we're going to do a ballot, then the people will vote, and then the ballots will be read, and then we will go from there as to how they.
You don't have I didn't bring my list of all the candidates back again.
We can make you one real quick. Or you've got one you're going to hand out on the ballot.
This is the ballot.
Has that got Doug's name on
No, it doesn't.
Does the ballot have all of his name on
it?
it?
It will have.
Okay, well, it's fine then. I'm fine, I'm good then.
You need to make sure your name
Is on
is
here.
on how you vote. He's gonna give you a ballot, I presume.
Call it out,
And then,
I just wanted, some of the names, we got Jennings and Andrews and, and I just wanted to make sure, and I've got, that I don't get confused, is all I was trying to do. Because I hadn't looked at it since the last council meeting.
She's going to go make copies of it. I'll give her just. All right.
everyone needs a copy of the
Right.
ballot.
We will.
All right. Did we vote on this? We got talking.
You,
No.
you got a motion,
got a
Mr.
second.
Bratton seconded, you
Sorry
need to
about
move.
Okay, call it up.
Call roll.
Okay, all in favor of this say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, she's going to go make copies real quick, and then we'll.
How do
you get nicotine? What's over Thanksgiving? Pills or something? No, you still have cancer. You don't want to try it. I didn't know that. That's what I'm saying. You know, Alzheimer's, you die of AIDS, and cancer, you die of it.
Mr. Amonette,
Yes,
did
sir.
you receive that email today in reference to the floating zoning?
Today, I haven't, who was I supposed to receive it from?
I forwarded you a copy about that floating zoning at the county that you had referenced.
Did you get that today?
I did, and I emailed it to you.
I haven't checked that, Lou, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You have to have,
But it's just a copy of the resolutions proposed.
All right, y'all, we're passing ballots out.
Yeah, David, one for you to
What's your
review.
name on pen? I don't have a
Sir.
You've
pen.
got councilman name and all listed.
I'm
I'm gonna do a highlighter.
All right, give you a minute. When everybody is done, let me know. Cordy, you should have five ballots, is that correct?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right.
It takes, it'll take just a simple majority, 3. Or will it take 4?
you gotta have 3.
Simple majority.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You need to be sure to call the name of
I
all
will
of
too.
them and how they voted.
All right, roll call of the ballots. Luther Bratton voted for Drew Jennings. Mike Callis voted for Drew Jennings. Melvin Menace voted for David Andrews. Steve White voted for Charles
Excuse
Lyon.
me. I made a mistake.
Okay. Protocol would say the ballot's turned in. I can't do anything about it
Well,
at
he
this
can,
point.
if he made an error.
Can I change it?
You can correct your error.
Yeah,
Okay,
If you made a mistake.
I did. Corrected.
Okay. We've got to there. All right, Mr. Menace then, vote was for Drew Jennings, and Brian Harbin's vote was for Drew Jennings. That means Mr. Jennings got 4 votes, and Mr. Lyons got 1. The majority would mean that Mr. Jennings is elected.
All right,
He needs to be sworn in again.
okay. We need to
That's the resolution.
pass a resolution, have a resolution to fill the spot of a council member and with Drew Jennings be there. Do we have a motion get on the floor?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'll make one. I do apologize for any problems that we went through. I do feel the way we did it the first time, that people voted the way they wanted, and we got a proper outcome. It may just not been handled properly. Having said that, I wish we'd have stuck with our original game plan to make public nominations, as I thought we were going to do, and that kind of fell apart, and so we ended up with what we got. I didn't know Drew. Before that, I only think I met him once. Just for the record, originally I had nominated David. And I got David because I knew him a little bit in the community. But after we voted and Drew was voted in, I think we made the right call again tonight to make Drew it again, because I think the vote was proper the first time. And I got to talk to Drew a little bit, and I appreciate him and looking forward to working with him. And so I do apologize to anybody who things didn't go as well as we had hoped previously, and so maybe we'll do better going forward.
All right, any other comments or questions? All right, so we're passing a resolution to, with the council appointing Drew Jennings to fill out the term of Tim Coker, which will be to the end of this November, and that seat will be in this November election. Let's do a roll call vote on this, Ms. King.
Alderman Bratton,
yes.
Alderman Callis.
Yes.
Alderman Harbin.
Yes.
Alderman Dennis.
Here.
Alderman White.
Yeah.
All right, passes. All right, so now we would need to actually confirm the appointment of Mr. Griggs, city recorder.
Was that unanimous? Steve voted. Steve voted.
You're supposed to announce, wasn't it?
You've got the shortest and the quickest. You're going to be in a record book several times.
Yeah. Unanimous. Yeah.
You raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Andrew Jennings,
I, Andrew Jennings,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Tennessee
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Tennessee
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Portland, Tennessee,
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Portland, Tennessee,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Alderman to the best of my ability.
of the office of Alderman to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
By the way, that photograph in the paper didn't do you justice.
Which one?
The photograph in the paper didn't do you justice.
You haven't seen it yet.
No, I'm talking about the one that was in last
I don't
week.
know if that's a good thing or bad thing.
Thank you. I want to make one request. We've got before we get into business, the council, if it'll be all right, the council and Mr. Harbin, since you're alcohol, we have Mr. Jerry Johns here. I know he has one item of business. He's actually the last item on the business. If we'd be all right to move him up to number when we get ready for the business council, that way he doesn't have to stay here unless he just wishes to for the whole meeting, so.
I think he said he wanted to stay.
But we got a couple public hearings we need to do, then we'll do your piece of business, Mr. Johns. First is, these are public hearing on two specific ordinances. First is ordinance 14-06. It's an ordinance to require qualified voters domiciled outside the city limits of Portland who hold a bona fide freehold interest for the city to vote by absentee mail. Does anyone in the audience wish to make a comment on this ordinance? Okay. Next is ordinance 14-07, ordinance authorizing contract between the city of Portland, Tennessee and Cleary Construction Incorporated for Phase 1 natural gas system improvements, looping various natural gas lines in the system. Does anyone wish to make a comment on this ordinance? And I am going to talk about an amendment to that when we get to that point, maybe a little change. Does anyone wish to discuss? All in favor, so if no one wishes to make, public hearings will be closed. Got carried away there. All right, next we'll go to the end of the agenda, 14-16 resolution. Mr. Harbin, do you want to?
It's a resolution authorizing a certificate of compliance for Jerry G. Johns of Buccaneers Import Wine and Spirits, Portland, Tennessee. I move to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Have a second. Is there any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, next we will get started on our agenda. There's nothing really under public. We've got everything listed today by Mr. Bratton under public safety on your drivers.
Yes, I have something I talked with Councilman Callis a little bit today about. I was in Nashville Metro, and I noticed that they had a driving program for young adults. In the past, we've had driving programs at the high school where young folk could go in and get, training and then actually on the road driving instructions and actually get incentives off of their insurance. Sumner County has abolished that. That's not provided anywhere in the county at this time. Talked with Chief Smith. They look alike. They've been around each other so long. But excuse me. I don't know which one gonna get upset about that. But I talked with the chief, and he he actually indicated that he thought he could help with that service. He indicated that the governor had a program that would pay for some of our officers to actually go get trained, so that if you went through this program, that you would be certified. My thought pattern would be that maybe you would have 1 week, you would actually go in-house up to public safety building in their training room, and they would go in and they would go over all the legal part of driving, everything that would be on maybe a driving test and maybe even beyond. Maybe they would actually print something off and have a mock exam that they could take prior to going down and taking their exam. And then maybe the following week, even within the next couple of weeks, then they would actually have an officer actually get in the vehicle with them and teach them how to parallel park and all those sorts of things. We sort of floated around where we might do that at. I think we've approached maybe the high school in their parking lot, because a lot of parents utilize that parking lot to train their kids now. But as Richard was telling me, there's some other areas that we can use for that. And he had a couple of cars that wasn't in use that he could, take all the decals off and do that. I thought if we could do that service for the community, it'd be tremendous. There's a lot of young folk in our community, parents don't even have vehicles, and they don't have transportation, so it's difficult. They're having to borrow vehicles from neighbors and friends and stuff, and that's not a lot, but there's still some out there like that. So this way we could provide that service, and I think we can do it at no cost. If you're a resident of the city, at no cost. I'll ask Mike in the public safety that they would take this up. Maybe if you was outside the city limits, there would be a minimal fee, but for the citizens of our community, there would be no fee for that.
I think it's a good idea,
Thank you.
Luther. And you know what? One thing I've noticed, that since you've been married, your ideas have gotten better.
Well, having a regular meals and all those sort of things help maybe generate the brain a little bit.
Well, even the ones that don't have a vehicle, this will still save them on the insurance,
Yeah.
and, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, we lived in North Carolina when I was 16 for a couple of years, and they had a really extensive driver's education program. And the pass-fail rate for just the exam when they went to take their permit test was excellent. So I think it would help in that regards too.
Oh, good.
And Chief Smith, I never surprise anyone, so I actually talked to Chief Smith about it, and he may have a comment, he's maybe talked to HP or something.
I think Mr. Bratton said it all. We just kind of in early stages right now. I want to get it off the ground. So there's a lot of groundwork I'm going to have to do as police chief, and to get these officers certified to teach that kind of program that the high school used to teach, but not any longer.
Is there not still a summer program or something in
I talked to them
place?
today, and there's no program whatsoever.
I was under the impression that there was still some kind of a summer program that for drivers.
Well, I thought we'd get a curriculum together, get the officer certified, bring it to the safety committee, and then work the bugs out as we go along.
You and Al do look a little bit alike.
Not as tall as Al, but
Might even get some of these retired officers to donate
There
a
you
little
go.
time.
Not too.
there you go. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Pratt.
That's an excellent idea, Mr. White.
Also, kind of going along with the line of that, be a little bit more information start coming out pretty soon, but one of the other safety items is we do have a lot of young people on bicycles around town and so forth, and May the 3rd, Officer McKelvey, who is trained in bicycle safety, we're going to be having like a safety and health day over at the park, which will be the weekend of the Strawberry Festival. Be doing like a bike rodeo where they can go through a course, kind of get a driver's license, and also going to have Life Flight's going to have a helicopter there that day if they're not in use. TBI is going to look at maybe bringing up their van or a boat to register children and so forth. So several other agencies over the county will be here. So like I say, about 1st of March we'll start advertising that more. And so with that and the driving, maybe we can put some more emphasis on safety and some things like that. So. All right, anyone else on safety? Okay, if not, we'll go on to under legislative resolution, ordinance 14-06. This is the second. This is the ordinance requiring the voters to vote by absentee who live outside the city but own property to be able to vote by absentee ballot. Have a motion to get it on the floor.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? I know this is a concern of several, and had a lot of people talk to me about it, but I think in overall that this is probably going to be a good thing. Still looks like you should be able to come here and vote, but a lot of people who own property are not convenient for them too, and this way everybody will be notified in more of a proper manner, so better efforts.
So for clarification, they will not be allowed to vote in any way other than by mail.
Right.
That's the only reason I'm against it. I think they ought to be allowed to
And
go to the
even
polls
if
they want to.
this was not to pass, I mean, they could still vote by absentee if this wasn't to pass, but they could not vote here in the city. They would have to go to Gallatin that day and vote at the registrar's office. They will not, so, and that's
It's an
going to be true.
inconvenience as far as I'm
So
concerned.
they-
I don't think it's right.
They currently still would have to go to Gallatin to vote.
Right. If they own, it's just,
Right,
and it's going to be that way with every city who allows that in their charter.
whether we pass it or not.
Right, whether we pass it or not, they're still going to have to go to Gallatin to vote, so.
Yeah, and I think that's something just needs to be clarified. We had somebody from election office come in and kind of explain that to us, that all this basically is doing is adding a layer of convenience.
Right.
Not taking away. And this is trying to make it easier.
Right.
So,
And trying to be sure everybody's notified, because, you know, a lot of property owners do not live close, maybe not get the local papers and so forth, so. Or any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
We've got one opposed. Next, we have ordinance 14-07. It's an ordinance authorizing the contract between the City of Portland and Cleary Construction for gas line work. Have a motion to get it on the floor.
So moved.
second.
Motion and second. As we talked at the last meeting, the contract is for $1,024,800. And this was some additions of changing the plans, but all was within the still the contract amount what was originally told. Since that time, we've had several requests for gas lines to be added to the city. I think your Public Works Committee, you're going to get several more requests due to the this year with the coldness, some issues with propane and different things like that. So we're going to ask all that Public Works Committee to review all those requests and look about possible change order, something on this contract. But we do have, and we need to get this item done very quickly, we do have a request for a new industrial building out in Robertson County Park to be done, which would be a main line, a 6-inch line, a little over 1,000 foot to be added on. And going with their prices, that would be an add-on of $39,400. I think it would be good if we got this added on to this contract right off, so they could go ahead and get to work on that immediately whenever we're done. So Thomas is here to answer any questions about that, but it would be, there'll be a new road put in off of Vaughn Drive over to another road, and so this would not only serve that building, but it would be the, be able to loop to that road over there when you get other industries over there. Any questions or comments on that? So we need to add a amendment to add that to this contract that we're doing, if anybody's okay with that. Or if not, it can go to the Public Works Committee.
Do you need, so you're asking for somebody?
Right, yeah, we need a motion, a second, to add this 39,000.
I make a motion to amend and by adding on this extra 6-inch line.
Okay.
I second that.
Okay, a motion, a second. Any other discussions on the amendment?
You know, the payback on that with an industrial building, given we're selling gas, is gonna be fairly quick.
Right. And it's like I say, it's down that new road, and it's continue where you can loop into the other road over there. I don't know if you've been out there recently, but when you go into the industrial park across the interstate, it's right past gas types where a new building being built behind it. And there'll be a new road cut into there, then there'll be another road that'll loop on around on that east side of it. So
What is the business going in there? Do we know?
it's not yet. He doesn't have anybody taking it. So
It's just a spec building.
just be building at this time. All right, we've all in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're back to original ordinance. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have Resolution 14-08. It's a resolution to appoint one member to the Portland Housing Authority to fulfill an unexpired term of when Drew actually did give a letter of resignation for that spot. I recommend that we put Jamie Whitson into that spot. Ask for a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
See any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Doug, you have a,
In your package, you should have a report on debt obligation. It's a 3-page report. By requirements of the State Comptroller's Office, I am to distribute this to each of y'all. It is the report on the public library extension note. It's just paperwork that we have to file with them within 45 days. The note has been already issued. This is just the paperwork to follow up with the state.
What was the interest rate originally on that note? Do you remember? Do we know what that was?
4.35.
So this is close to half, close to half on interest.
2.35, yeah.
That's good stuff.
there's no action need to be taken on it. It's
taken.
just this, something by law we have to. just
No, to
make
give you
aware of.
notification.
Okay. Next, we have the add-on resolution. It's a resolution to approve a confidential settlement agreement and general release of the City of Portland and Tennessee Municipal League Risk Management Pool versus Volunteer State Bank. Do I have a motion, get it on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Resolution number is that?
What would be the next resolution now? Just a minute, and we'll see which one's next in line.
Is it 2014 on that?
21. That one first. Looks like it'd be 20 and 21.
That will be 21.
14, 21.
14.
All right, next we'll move on to the Airport Authority. Brian?
Resolution number 1417, a resolution in support of an amendment to the existing engineering scope of services agreement to include additional work for the Portland Municipal Airport RSA project. Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, have a second. Is there any comments or questions? Doug is here to answer any. I think he's been over these already. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution. Right. Resolution 1418, a resolution in support of a grant application to Tennessee Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division for funding for topping and removal of trees located within the safety area of Portland Municipal Airport. Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, we have a second. Is there any comments or questions?
Was them the ones that was spotted in that? Okay.
Got permission from landowners, we got the sign off.
And this is a 95-5 grant, which is 95% state, 5% local.
These on private property.
Yes, well, some of them, most of them. But I got sign off from the landowners agreement.
All of them.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 14-19, a resolution in support of a grant application to the Tennessee Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division for funding for appraisal costs for property within the safety area. Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, have a second. Is there any comments or questions for Doug on this?
I got 6 people that's approached me that would like to have theirs appraised for us to see that thing. It's in our area.
Again, it's 95.5 monies too.
Right.
955. This is appraised on, and I'll still have to come back to you to actually buy the property once we work a deal out. If we can work one out with them.
And the 95.5 money is up to appraisal amount, correct?
Yes. 5% are.
Right.
Oh, yeah, when we go back, yes.
Right, right. If we decided to move, to purchase the property, it would be, they would give us 95.5 money up to
Yes,
the
95.5
appraisal
up
amount.
to appraisal amount, and then 10% above that, and Anything above that, we have to have to do it on.
Then 10, so they'll go 10% above appraisal on the 95.5.
If there's anybody moving, they'll put money into that. So
So there's relocation money also.
it's a lot of scenarios.
Scenario's a fancy word.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. All right, this concludes the business of the city council meeting. We do have a work study immediately following. Does anyone else have anything for the meeting? Nobody objects, we'll be adjourned. You wanna take-